guys, so for this week's Q&A, I've been getting a lot of questions about Milia and if I could address Milia on the channel. So I figured today I would touch on all the questions that I've been getting about what causes them, what kind of treatments there are to get rid of them, if they ever go away on their own, that sort of thing. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Andrea. I'm a dermatologist. I post day in the life of a dermatologist vlogs as well as sit-down skincare focused content and skincare routine videos. So if this interests you, I encourage you to stick around. All right, so milia are these little firm white bumps that can occur on the skin, under the eye frequently, or on the face, the cheeks, sometimes the forehead, anywhere really on the face. They also frequently can occur on the upper chest area as well as the backs of the hands. They're a benign, small, little tiny skin cyst that is quite firm. And they can often occur in areas previously affected by acne or some sort of bad rash. They also frequently tend to occur on sun-exposed areas. They can occur after a bad burn or after a really aggressive chemical peel in which the skin was peeled too deeply. And like I said, they can also occur in areas previously affected by acne, especially the type of acne that leads to painful cysts and deep kind of nodules. When that heals, it can oftentimes, a milium can oftentimes form, and that reflects the fact that occurred, deeper down in some of the slightly deeper layers of the skin. However, occasionally they can just occur spontaneously without any prior peeling or trauma to the skin. And additionally, there are some very, very, very rare genetic conditions in which the individuals have multiple milia on the face or hands or chest, sometimes eruptive. They're very rare conditions, however. Likewise, certain medications have been associated with eruption of numerous milia, specifically certain types of chemotherapy. For example, chemotherapy used to treat cancers. And while they're not dangerous, cosmetically they're really bothersome to most people. They're noticeable, and for the most part they don't tend to go away on their own. And so it doesn't surprise me that I get many questions about milia and asking if I can do a video on milia in terms of what can be done. There's really no cream in the store that can get rid of them, despite whatever claims may be made. I would strongly discourage you from trying to scrub them away, as that can elicit a formation of more. Chemical peels occasionally can be helpful, but like I said, they can be causative. Would discourage you from trying to remove them yourself, as this can lead to a disfiguring scar. And by remove them yourself, I mean either with your hands or with one of those pore extractor devices, or a derma roller, or a needle, or a butcher's knife. Nothing. If you're someone who makes a lot of them, don't neglect your sunscreen, because inflammation in the skin from UV exposure can certainly kind of set the stage for these to form. So I would certainly not neglect sunscreen and sun protection. That being said, that will not get rid of the ones that you have. I get a lot of questions from my Differin videos on if Differin could be helpful for milia. And yes, Differin can actually be slightly helpful for getting rid of milia, but it's really not that robust. And maybe some milia that are very, very superficial and more amenable to just lightly being sloughed away by the natural sort of light exfoliation that occurs with Differin in the beginning. However, the outcomes are sort of variable with Differin. In terms of what can be done medically, I do encourage you to see a dermatologist, because they can be treated and removed quite easily without leaving any scarring behind. It doesn't, the treatments that can be offered, while they will not prevent you from getting more down the road, they can take care of the ones that you have. And so I encourage you to do that rather than waste your time on creams and trying to do this yourself. And the types of things that a dermatologist might do for milia, a prescription retinoid like tretinoin is sometimes helpful. It works on slightly different receptors in the skin than Differin, works a little bit deeper, so it may be slightly more efficacious to have a prescription tretinoin. An over-the-counter cosmeceutical retinol, however, is unlikely to be helpful, as those aren't retinoids in their active state, and for the most part ask the skin to do too much and are largely useless. And by that I mean like La Roque and The Ordinary and Avens, Retronail, all of the high-end medical grade cosmeceutical retinols. They're really unpredictable and unlikely to be helpful. They're really unpredictable and unlikely to be helpful for the most part. But a prescription tretinoin can potentially be, of the cream approaches, prescription tretinoin can probably be most efficacious. A dermatologist can easily remove these by simply putting either a little bit of numbing medicine under the skin or numbing cream on the surface of the skin so you don't feel the procedure, and then subsequently just nicking the top of them with a surgical device and sterilely removing them in a controlled fashion so as to not scar you and to take care of them. Something called electrosurgery can also be performed, and it sounds quite scary, but it's actually very, very straightforward and not anything that you need to get too nervous about. It involves an electrosurgical device with a little kind of pointed end on it, and the dermatologist can essentially just pierce the milia, and a small electric current will destroy the abnormal milia tissue, and in a very controlled fashion, and it will slough off and go away. Dermatologists are usually pretty conservative about chemical peels to get rid of milia, as for the most part chemical peels have been reported in association with causing milia, so usually that's not pursued, but there are some reports in the medical literature of certain light superficial peels being helpful for milia, namely like a salicylic acid based peel, for example. But for whatever reason, some people are just predisposed to forming them. We don't have a lot of great answers as to why. As we get older and in smokers, in which the deeper layers of our skin are no longer as strong, contributing to wrinkles and fine lines, that support structure is sort of ideal, I guess you might say, for formation of milia. There is that. I get questions on would benzoyl peroxide or over-the-counter salicylic acid then be helpful, and it's unlikely to do anything to get rid of them. And I would just encourage you to be very conservative with trying to do this yourself and not try and remove anything, because the more harsh kind of over-the-counter peeling acid type things you attempt to put on, your skin's just going to become dry and irritated and inflamed and not like it too much. And it won't take care of the milia. There are also some laser approaches that could be used, although this would be considered a cosmetic procedure and would probably be very expensive to you, more expensive than some of the other in-office procedures. There are some destructive type lasers that can focally destroy the milia without causing damage to the rest of your skin. That's another option. But honestly, they're very frustrating. Aside from sunscreen, it's difficult to know how to prevent them. I think that's kind of been some of my pause to make this video, and that there's just not a whole lot to say about them. I wish we had more to offer in this regard. I will say that occasionally skin cancers can look an awful lot like a milium, so I again emphasize seeing a dermatologist for evaluation and management rather than assuming that it's a milia, because it could be a type of skin cancer that would need to be treated appropriately. So do know that. A dermatologist should be able to tell the difference quite easily, so don't worry about that. But yeah, don't assume that everything on your face is what you think it is. There are a lot of things that look very similar, so it's always a good idea to see a dermatologist for evaluation and management. And if in fact they are milia, then which they most likely are, simple procedures like electrosurgery or surgical extraction can can get rid of them, and you know, you can be on your way. So rather than waste time on other things, I would encourage you to do that. I know it can be difficult to get in to see a dermatologist and expensive, but you know, if you're really bothered by it cosmetically, that's the thing to do. I mean, everything else is just kind of a waste. I really wish there was more that I could say about Milia that, you know, would be more upbeat and optimistic for you, but I'm a realist and I'm not going to like beat around the bush and pretend that, you know, there are things to say when there aren't. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I encourage you to see your dermatologist and wear sunscreen this summer. Check the description box below for some of my favorites for both oily skin and dry skin, as well as tinted sunscreens to kind of help you out in the meantime. But you know, again, do see a dermatologist if you're able. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Stick around for more content similar to this. Give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.